We'll talk about something coming back from the dead, or dare I say in a cheesy way, it's alive, as the ever famous Colin Clive, who played Dr. Frankenstein. We have today on Transformer Tuesday from Hasbro Pulse a brand new addition to what I thought was the dead, the dead Transformers Collaboration Universal Monsters crossover series. So back in September of 2021, the Target Collector Con revealed to us a brand new crossover, the Dracula's Universal Monsters Transformers crossover, taking the Universal Monsters properties and mixing them with some Transformer tooling to make some Transformers Universal Monster stuff. This was kind of based off of an old idea from back in the day with Transformers. They had some really cool ideas that were shown in the Generation Guidebook that just never came to be. And all these years later, Dracula's finally has happened, and that came out. It was originally a pre-order on Target, and then was available through all different other kinds of retailers for $32. It was available in Canada in Toys R Us for $70, which even with exchange came to like $55 USD. We were getting hosed heavily, and that reached mass retail in November of 2021. And look, it was a cool figure. It was a retool of a Titans Return mold. It had a soft good, so it had a pretty cool cape. It had that VHS kind of packaging that had a nice cover that was even an homage to the old Bela Lugosi Dracula movie. Like, I dug what it was on paper, but it was very expensive, and it just was one of these things that, no surprise, me waiting for it to go on sale, and it did go on sale quite a bit because it was also not very well received in the United States. That $32 dropped to as low as $20, then $15 on Amazon. Even the Canadian one at $70 dropped to as low as $30 at EB Games or GameStop locally here. Not so much in Toys R Us. They were holding firm on that one. But and I believe also in the UK, it went from 40 quid to 20 quid. It went 50% off. So it wasn't well received, and the belief was this was a one and done. It was to celebrate the 90th anniversary of the Dracula movies, and that was that. Well, that's not the case here, because apparently Transformer Tuesday revealed we have a sequel to this Universal Monsters crossover, and we got the Frankentron, a Transformers collaborative Universal Monsters Frankenstein and Transformers collaborative the Frankentron. So this one is pretty cool for a lot of different reasons. Number one, the Frankenstein movies are way cooler than the Dracula movies. Just a hot take right there. They made 8 different movies between 1931 and 1948. They're all really good. The first 4 of them are absolute classics. Colin Clive, who plays Dr. Frankenstein, and Boris Karloff, who played the monster, not Frankenstein. I don't want to get into that conversation, but the monster's not called Frankenstein. Frankenstein is... Anyways, everyone knows this by now. But those are fantastic movies, and if you're someone who is a big Power Rangers Sentai fan, or Ultraman, or Toku, all the DNA and history comes from those early Frankenstein movies and the Wolfman, and they're just really good. They're just really good. Check those out. Fantastic stuff. Very good movies. And so they want to do now a Frankenstein, or Frankentron in this case, one, and they're continuing that tradition. So the press release here that we have from Hasbro pretty much has the same stuff that we see with a lot of the other press releases, but they do make a few mentions of some stuff like here, Transformers Universal Monsters X Transformers mashup. It's alive, wielding together from deceased Cybertronian parts. A new creation has escaped the Dr. Frankenstein lab, Frankentron. So let's take this away for a moment. So, put together by deceased Cybertronian parts. So he's Autobot X pretty much, I guess. So is Autobot X also like a form of Frankenstein? And mind you, Autobot X was more just spare Cybertronian parts, but still. So, and escapes from Dr. Frankenstein's lab. So there were Cybertronians back in 1931 that were working with Dr. Frankenstein. Where did he get these deceased Cybertronian parts? Was there a crazy war going on? I don't know. You put this one little sentence and everything kind of falls off the rails in a lot of ways. especially if it's supposed to be based off of the 1931 Universal Pictures movie, which everything here is pretty much leaning to that. So 16 Steps to Convert, inspired by the Dr. Frankenstein monster from the 1931 movie. So right there. It says here, movie-inspired alt mode. Okay, yeah, so let's get into that. So, like I said, the tooling, just like in the Draculas came from a Titan's Return mold, this one comes from a Siege mold, in this case, Siege Impactor, that has been extensively retooled to look like Frankenstein's monster. And I think it looks great, to be honest. The head sculpt looks really nice. The body and the paint and everything, especially it was a black and white movie. So the choice of colors, regardless of how they should have looked, looks amazing. But that movie-inspired alt mode line, I don't remember a tank ever being in the first movie in 31 or any of those movies for that matter. Even if we get into like the later ones, which were kind of more of a comedy horror. So that's, I don't know. I guess it is what it is. I guess if it isn't supposed to be a tank and it's supposed to be like some of the lab equipment, I could believe that. And I'll get into a moment where I think that's maybe more what this movie-inspired alt mode is supposed to be. Because they have here movie-inspired detail and accessories, features screen-inspired sculpted detail, and comes with a canon accessory based on Dr. Frankenstein's laboratory equipment in the film. Also comes with a blast effect. So it comes with a unique blast effect, but the extra accessory, which is a item seen in Dr. Frankenstein's laboratory, that is true, because when you look at that cannon weapon, it looks a lot like that Tesla coil that's seen in the background of the birth of Frankenstein's monster. There's kind of like this Tesla coil that's like blinking everything in the background and everything when he's being revived. Not revived, but being brought to life by the lightning from the tower. So that's pretty cool that they did that. They didn't have to like put that little extra thing. So when you look at that, coil and you put it on this tank mode, I guess it's a mismatch. Like, Frankenstein is supposed to be a mismatch of Cybertronian parts, and his alt mode is a mismatch of the parts of his lab, I guess. That is now a rolling kind of thing. I don't know. So pretty cool, though. I like it. I think it looks really nice. One negative, though, is I look at so with the first one that they did with Dracula's, the box was clearly inspiration of the VHS with Bela Lugosi from Dracula. This one here, I don't really see where, like how the choice of the art on the front, it's not really homaging anything from any of the past VHSs of the 1931 Frankenstein movie. They're kind of just doing their own thing, which is kind of a shame. I kind of like that, that homage synergy, but I guess they just wanted to go with something that really sells in. Yes, this is Frankenstein. Yeah, the Tesla coil is back there. Look at that. So still pretty cool. I like it. I think it looks awesome. Definitely way more exciting than the Draculas, in my opinion. When I first looked at this, honestly, it looked like the Marvel Transformers Crossovers Hulk that we got all those years ago. Feels like 15 years ago that one came out, but kind of had a similar vibe to it. They both turn into tanks and everything, but this really is its own thing. It looks really nice. I dig it. So we have here, it's going to be shipping out in September of 2023. So, hey, right now, pretty much, you could pick it up. Maybe it's showing up in retail soon. And the retail price on this is going to be $34.99, so $35. Pretty much just a couple bucks more than what Dracula's was, 2 years prior. I don't understand the price increase, in all honesty, but whatever it is, what it is, maybe some of the new tooling. I dig it. I think it looks cool. Maybe I'll pick it up when I see it brand new on shelves or something. Hopefully it won't be ridiculously expensive in the Canadian region. Otherwise, I'll hit up one of my American buddies to find it for me on the cheap. But I think it looks really cool. It's going to have that VHS slip again, so that's going to be nice to have next to the Draculas that I still have mint in box, because I think it just looks nicer as a display piece. The question is, if this is successful, if this actually does well as opposed to Dracula's, who will be next? Will we potentially be seeing the Elsa Lancaster Bride of Frankenstein? That would be really cool. Get a female character there with her iconic hair with the little lightning through it. Maybe Igor from Son of Frankenstein. Maybe the Wolfman, even. Pretty cool. I would like to see some of those. Continue that and have a nice little VHS collection of them all together. Kind of like what they're doing with the Marvel X-Men and Spider-Man animated series. They're figures with Marvel Legends, where they're doing those VHS-inspired packaging. Still pretty cool. Anyways, I like this. Let me know what you think, guys. Pretty cool. Pre-orders are up right now on Hasbro Pulse, $34.99. Should be shipping to your door any day after you do those pre-orders. And when you get a chance, go check out those, at least those first 3 of the 1931 Frankenstein movies. They're pretty good. Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein. They actually, it's an ongoing continuity of 8 movies, actually. It's pretty crazy. So, but they're all pretty good. Check them out. Really cool stuff. And I'll talk to you again really soon here on the Transformers Slag podcast. And thank you for listening.